It takes 20 years to build reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it. If you think about it, you will do things differently, said Warren Buffett. So, one of the quick and easiest decisions to influence any of the company's performance, reputation, and take investment decisions is by checking the credit ratings. Today, we are here for CRC 2018 as part of the Credit Research Challenge, and we are Team 220. And coming to our credit research analysis, we have come up with a report for Bharti Airtel. Now, when it comes to our agenda, it's all about company overview, business description, corporate governance, financial analysis, liquidity analysis, and investment recommendation. Going to the company snapshot. This particular company, Bharti Airtel, was started in 1976, and within 43 years of operations, it has become the world's third largest telecom operator. Now what are the key highlights in last year? So, coming to the strategy, whatever incorporated by Bharti Airtel, one of the key observation is the acquisition of the companies. It acquired most of the companies, and coming to the financial year end, the overall market share of Bharti Airtel is around 36%. Now let's go to business description.
Coming to the business description of Bharti Airtel, let's first consider the segment mix. When you consider the segment mix, the mobile scenario, the mobile service scenario consists the major part of Bharti Airtel's business, that is 73%, both Asia and Africa business. Then other segments consist of tower infrastructure, Airtel business, digital TV, and other home services. Coming to the business and value creation model of Bharti Airtel, the value creation model consists of mainly 5 parameters. First, the network infrastructure, that the Bharti Airtel has more than 1,50,000 mobile network towers. Then secondly, the sales and distribution concentrated on the huge customer base, that is 300 million plus, and other supplier bases. Then the other 3 models, that is cost efficiency model and innovation drives, that consist of the major part of Bharti Airtel's business portfolio mix. Coming to all other services, that is the home services, DTH services, or the broadband services, Bharti Airtel believes in a multi-channel integrated value creation. That is the portfolio, that is the major parameter when we rate a company's performance. If we look at the SWOT analysis, then the strength of Bharti Airtel lies in the huge network infrastructure and the telecom legacy it has in both Asia and Africa. The weakness, currently we can say the EBITDA is decreasing day by day, and it's being difficult to cope up with the market with a decreasing revenue or decreasing EBITDA, or you can say the flat growth structure. Opportunities are many, which will be described in the later slides, and the threats is from the competitors. Competitors are decreasing ARPU and the regulatory norms, making it difficult for any telecom company to survive. Its major markets are mainly concentrated on Asia and Africa, especially the Africa business is doing really well. When we consider the key growth opportunities, then the wireless data structure in rural villages. The rural villages tele-density is going to rise in near future. The mobile data traffic is also going to rise in near future. The percentage can be increasing, and it will increase in future. So Bharti Airtel need to cope up on that. Then the industry trends like smart homes, IoT services, and other technology services are going to suffice the major industry trend in the near future. Then also the other 2 opportunities lies in broadband and mobile services, and also the African market. If we have also analyzed the management and corporate governance structure by help of OECD framework that takes into account 70 major parameters ranging from rights and equitable part of the stakeholders, role of the stakeholders, the compensation structure, and the responsibility of the board through board meetings and annual AGMs, and also the recordings of MOMs. So Bharti Airtel scores a good mark in this structure, because as per our analysis, Bharti Airtel has scored a leadership structure in management and corporate governance. So this is good for Bharti Airtel. If we go to the competitor analysis of the industry analysis, then the negative impact lies in competitive segment and the rising power of buyers that dictates the prices. The neutral impact is the bargaining power of suppliers, and the positive impact is there is no substitute and new entrants threat is very minimal. Also, if we score Bharti Airtel on basis of 3 major competitors like Jio and Vodafone Idea, then network infrastructure is the best for Bharti Airtel. But when it comes to growth rate or when it comes to pricing mechanism, then it lags behind other competitors. The next, we'll be analyzing some other risk also. Also, I'd like to say the subscriber base is mainly concentrated on the 3 major players, and it's increasing for only those 3 major players. Other players, they have no space. Now we will calculate the financial analysis.
So coming to the financial analysis part, here in the first chart we see the revenue and EBITDA margin of the company, and we can see that the EBITDA margin has contracted year on year to 33.5%, as strong Africa margin was offset by disappointing margin in Indian mobility business. In the second chart we see the increasing trend in the net debt. Consolidated net debt and the multiple net debt by EBITDA is on a continuous rise. Net debt of the company has increased at a CAGR of 13% in the last 4 years. Here we have shown the EBITDA change quarter on quarter, and we can see that the higher operating expenditure and weak India's wireless performance dragged the overall EBITDA margin. Here this pie chart shows the revenue split by segments, and we can clearly see that the maximum revenue, that is approximately 45%, is contributed by Wireless India segment, and it contributes 31% to the overall EBITDA of the company, whereas Africa contributes 25% to the revenue and 31% to the EBITDA of the company. In the next slide, we have compared the financial performance of the Bharti Airtel with respect to its peers, and we can clearly see that the total revenue is higher than the average of top 3 players of the company, of the industry. However, its EBITDA figures here in this chart are lower than the average of the top 3 players, which shows that the company has higher operating expenditure as compared to its peers. Coming to the performance metrics, we can see that for the Bharti Airtel, there has minutes growth is accelerated to 62% year on year from 55% in the last year, and however, there is a startling figure which says that India's monthly churn rate has increased to 7.3% in financial year 19. However, Africa's monthly churn rate is constant at 4.7%. Here is a graph which shows a declining trend in the ARPU, that is average revenue per user. We can see that average revenue per user was 172 in financial year 17, and it has reduced to 104 in this year. And India's mobile ARPU is in a downward spiral and continues to remain under pressure. However, we can see that the ARPU trajectory going forward is expected to improve on account of minimum recharge plan and price increase content offering to high-end customers. Next is capital structure.
In capital structure, we see that the shareholding pattern, where the promoters and promoters group have almost 67% of the shares. Therefore, the promoters have a very high significance, and it also indicates that the interest in the efficient management of the company. On the right, we see the gearing ratio, which is 0.49, which implies that the company is very conservative in financial management. Next, we see debt analysis. In this, we see that the term loans is almost 39% and non-convertible bonds is 27%. Now, the debt has been mostly taken to fund its aggressive capital investments. We see that on the right side, the long-term debt to equity ratio, where it has increased almost 5 times. Next is debt serviceability. Here we see the interest coverage ratio has decreased almost 6 times from 12 to 1.5. The key points here is the interest and finance expenses has increased by 100%, but the EBITDA has increased only by 30% in the last 5 years. Next is the management is taking crucial steps to reduce the net debt, and because of extensive capital expenditure in Africa and in India, there are good signals of positive cash flows in the near future. Next is that the Airtel enjoys geographical diversified target markets, which help them to reduce the market risk. Next is liquidity analysis. Here we see the working capital analysis. The most important inferences are that the Airtel is trying to aggressively infrastructure sharing. The next is adaptive disruptive technologies in order to improve the productivity of capital expenditure. We also see in that the Airtel's receivables is doing very well as compared to the market average. They have reduced from 12% to 10% the 90 days outstanding payments. Next is liquidity performance. Here we see, due to high competitive intensity in the Indian market, and the average revenue per unit has come down because of the bundling of the voice and data packages. Therefore, there is a high amount of stress on the return on assets, but we see no high volatility in quick and current ratios, and we see that they have been consistent over the last 5 years.
Moving forward to the investment summary, we consider rating histories of CRISIL and ICRA. And both these credit rating agencies actually degraded the rating of Bharti Airtel from AA plus to AA. This is because of the weaker cash flow, and along with that one, high pressure on the debt coverage metrics driven by weakness in Indian mobile operations and high capex along with high debt levels. And adding on these particular factors, because of weaker pricing power in the market, these led to the degradation of the rating. Now, there are multiple factors which should be considered for the analysis of whatever we have done, and we categorize them as key rating drivers, be it positive or negative. Coming to the positive rating drivers, they are basically robust spectrum portfolio, acquisition of smaller players, diversified business and portfolio, and improved performance in Africa and healthy financial flexibility. Coming to the negative drivers, they are increasing debt to equity ratio, bad debt coverage ratio, and decline in editor, debt protection techniques, and increased competitive intensity. So, subcategorizing the negative drivers, the low negative drivers are basically exposure to regulatory changes along with exposure to technology risk, and high negative rating drivers are increasing the debt to equity ratio and bad interest coverage ratio. So, moving forward to key investment risk. Regulatory and customer management used to be the biggest problems for Bharti Airtel because of the entry of Jio. Most of the customers who used to be loyal customers of Bharti Airtel moved to Jio because of the lower pricing or the kind of facilities whatever they provide. And liquidity and economic position along with technology used to be the strengths or medium assets of Bharti Airtel. Now let's consider the future strategy whatever can be considered by Bharti Airtel. Strategy 1, which can be partnership with digital content companies like Amazon Prime, Hotstar and ALT Bajaj. And strategy 2 is omnichannel integration of My Airtel app for Project Next and for better customer experience. Strategy 3 is all about high capital investment in 4G and Project Lead for 5G. And strategy 4 is micro marketing for market penetration and expansion to reach rural markets in India. And strategy 5 is aggressive investments in new revenue models like payment bank and Airtel TV. So, investment recommendation is based on the credit rating matrix whatever we have developed, which includes factors like industrial scope, which is the market becoming extremely competitive, and we have given a weightage of 20% over the entire matrix. And coming to business mix, it is all about enjoying good profits in Africa along with the presence in 17 different countries. So this also took a 20% weightage. There are few important aspects like earnings manipulation or factor repetition position, which were considered in the quantitative analysis of our rating model. So initially the rating of Bharti Airtel used to be on the scale 8 on the scale of 10, which was considered as AA. But according to our new model and the changed market positions, it is AA minus, which along with that one, based on our analysis, we recommend a hold position to Bharti Airtel, which is a AA minus and neutral position. And even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Let's hope Airtel will do the same. Thank you.